The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Pure. The Pure app lets awesome people have casual sex tonight. Download Pure on Google Play or the App Store. Pure, the hookup app that says it's a hookup app. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Hey there, you shark-toothed cocksuckers and baby hands body rubbers. This is Billy Procida, and you're listening to the Man Whore Podcast. I can't say all of that. I have weak lungs. Okay, hi everyone, how you doing? If you're new to my podcast, this is a show where I talk to women I've hooked up with about sex, dating, and why we didn't work out. Well, this week's special guest is not one of my former flames. He's a fellow stand-up comedian, Will Miles, but he also hosts an interesting podcast called Hopefully We Don't Break Up, which he co-hosts with his girlfriend. That's a risk many people are not willing to take. And I can't wait to tell you more about Will in a little bit. But first, show dates, people. Show dates. Okay, tonight, June 28th, I'm at the Creek in the Cave at the 8 p.m. show in Long Island City, Queens. July 17th, I'm at Stand Up New York on panel for The Great Love Debate. It's a fun little panel show hosted by Brian Howie, who does a podcast of the same name. Then July 30th, Connecticut. July in parts of Massachusetts. July 30th, I'm going to be at Comics at Mohegan Sun. Yes, coming on back to Mohegan Sun. You can see more information about those show dates and others at manwhorepod.com/comedy. And while you're over at manwhorepod.com, sign up for the mailing list, people. Yes, we got the monthly newsletters coming out next week. That's how you get all the latest Man Whore Podcast news, and how you get included in all sorts of fun, sexy giveaways. Get on the mailing list. Leave your zip code, okay? It just helps me know where the fan whores are at. It's for your benefit, because again, I've said this once, I'll keep saying it. If I know I've got like 1,000+ listeners in Iowa, guess who's going to come do a show in Iowa? But I can't know that if you don't sign up for the mailing list and put your zip code down. Okay. Got through that. Today, also 3 p.m. Eastern. If you're listening to this in time, head on over to my Facebook fan page for the Man Whore Podcast. I'm doing my monthly installment of the Fan Whore Facebook Live Hangout. That's when I pop on the Facebook Live and hang out with you, answer your questions, play some fun little games, and sometimes even introduce a special guest for about an hour. And if you missed it, don't worry. You can see the replay video of the Hangout for the entire month of July. So make sure you go to my fan page and click that like button so you don't miss it. So many plugs, Jesus Christ. Okay, hi. Stuff, substance. Let's get to your messages. I got this one message from Samantha. She says, I don't know if this is an appropriate place to ask for your advice, but I'm new and would like a man's perspective. I've been hooking up with a guy for a while, and he's really good in bed, but he doesn't stay down for very long before fucking me. And he's really good at it. So I want him to stay going down on me longer, since it's my favorite thing on the planet. What can I do besides push his head back down? Which is funny, because I responded with, you know what I'm going to tell you, right? And she said, push his head back down? No. This will be the quickest piece of advice I've ever given. Use your words. Just tell him, just be like, hey, can you eat me out longer, please? I fucking love it. It's my favorite thing on the planet. And it might help if you actually use that phrase, my favorite thing on the planet, because you can feel that fragile male ego of his, right? So, yeah, that's it. That's all. I mean, I bring this up on the podcast this week, but, communicate, I think, is the most common answer to any fucking email I get. Before you email me, ask yourself, what if I just communicated? Am I communicating? If you are and it's still an issue, shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. I want to also say thank you to Charlie. Thanks for the socks, buddy. You send me all sorts of weird stuff. I love it. When I got back from San Francisco and from Texas, I got home at like fucking 3 a.m. and there was a package waiting for me, and I opened it up and there's all sorts of little sparkly things and little packing cute doodads, and but also a pair of fancy socks from some French company, Coco Zuzette. But they're booby socks. The socks just have boobs on them. These look like you're supposed to wear them on your hands at some sort of feminist march. But thank you, sir. I always love your presents. Love them. Okay, so as you all know, I am a bit of a sexual tourist, and I think I'm the only person. I think I must be the biggest promoter of using Craigslist for anonymous sex. I can't recall anyone who promotes using Craigslist as much as I do. I also promote using the Pure app. Okay, remember, they sponsor. Go sign up. It's a good thing. It's also a little less creepy than Craigslist. I'll give them that. But I do enjoy the type of Craigslist ads you can find. So as soon as I got back from being out of town, I obviously was like, well, let's see what New York's up to. And I found an ad that I just fell in love with, and I want to read it to you as a great example of an in-depth, involved, well-thought-out Craigslist ad written by the woman, mind you. It's an MW for M ad. Of course, that means man, woman for a man. Typically, that means just some couple looking for a dude to join on in. It's titled Sex Play in 3 Acts. You will join us at our comfortable home on a Saturday evening and spend the night with us. My partner, the male, and I, the woman, with the sensual woman's voice I've given her, both in our 30s, good-looking, sexy, kinky, white, are looking for another handsome guy to join us in our extended rough play. We go for hours and love to push boundaries. He has a swimmer's body, an epic cock, and is tall. I am skinny with a great ass and somewhat petite. Act 1. You will masturbate and edge yourself while giving us instructions. You'll be the scriptwriter, director, and editor. Afterwards, we will all go to sleep in our king-sized bed until Act 2. I gently wake you up in the middle of the night by caressing your dick head with my skilled tongue, at which point you will have permission to take me any way you like while my partner watches us. We have a special drawer filled with chokers, leashes, nipple clamps, restraints, floggers, gags, blindfolds, vibrators, beads, anal plugs, and so on, which I truly hope you will use on me like a true slut deserves. All 3 of my holes will be yours. And then, Act 3, the denouement, as they sometimes call it. Our depraved play will conclude in a delicious threesome with focus on me, served for breakfast on Sunday morning, which really gives a whole new meaning to easy like a Sunday morning. All you need to bring is a dirty mind, filthy mouth, huge cock, and lots of stamina. And scene. What an ad, people. It's got all the things I like. It's involved. It's full. It's not 3 or 4 sentences. You can tell this person thought out the encounter. It's imaginative. It's actually taken something that's not all too wild and crazy, but has now presented it in such a wild, crazy, and fun-fueled way. And again, there's a novelty aspect to it to me where I'm like, can't say I've ever done a sex play in like 3 acts before. So, that seems interesting. And so those are the things that go into a good Craigslist ad, people. Not to mention, they also specify things that they want, like they want a non-smoker, athletic body. They had an age range in mind. They emphasized again they want someone well hung, which, well hung is such an ambiguous term. I don't know what that is. Give me a number, people. So yeah, that's my that's my Craigslist deep dive for the day. As we all know, ManWhoreCon tickets are on sale. Tickets are starting to be sold. People seem to be excited, according to emails I'm getting, and I am excited too. But why am I doing ManWhoreCon? It's because this podcast wouldn't be what it is without you fans showing up week in and week out. Similarly, ManWhoreCon can't happen without you showing up. Otherwise, it's just me crying alone in a corner. I want this weekend to be a celebration of you and the fan whore community we have built together. ManWhoreCon is a weekend of events, hanging out with other listeners, and of course, yours truly. I love interacting with you people. I mean, I love waking up to your emails and your tweets. I love opening your packages in the mail. I mentioned meeting Chris at my New York Comedy Club show last week. That's my fucking favorite. I take it as the highest compliment when someone pledges money to my Patreon or buys a ticket to see me perform. Chris happens to do both. And I am super excited to meet those of you who come out to New York City for ManWhoreCon this October. And I can't wait to get to know the super fans who have made this podcast such a success over the years. Members of our secret Patreon Facebook group, The Champagne Room, are already getting hyped up for the weekend. Because it's not just about hanging out with me. Trust me, you'll get bored of me eventually, I promise. But meeting the other awesome weirdos who listen to the life and times of Billy's penis. But it's also about meeting the other awesome weirdos who listen to the life and times of Billy's penis. I've got some super fun events lined up that I'm going to announce over the course of the summer. So far, we're doing a group tour of the Museum of Sex and a live Man Whore podcast show. So take advantage of the super early bird ticket price of $47.50 before prices go up on August 1st. Visit manwhorepod.com/tickets to get on that right now. We've already filled up one of the group Airbnbs that I've been talking about, and I have another one lined up. Email me at manwhorepod@gmail.com for more information on a more affordable lodging accommodation. I'm trying to keep the prices to under $100 per person per night. Again, go to manwhorepod.com/tickets to get your ManWhoreCon, to get access to ManWhoreCon. And of course, if you don't want to go to the entire weekend and you just want to go to the live taping, you can also attend that for just $20. You can get your tickets at the same place. Very excited to meet y'all. And I'm excited for this week's episode with Will Miles, fellow stand-up comedian. Again, he hosts a podcast with his girlfriend, also a comedian, called Hopefully We Don't Break Up. And they talk to other couples. Actually, Andrew Sparksfire and his wife Beth, I like to call the king and queen of Hacienda, they're on the podcast. So if you want to learn more about Hacienda, that's a good episode to check out. But I had Will over to talk about a variety of things. I mean, he's in his 30s, so we talk a little bit about the difference between dating in your 20s versus your 30s. Talk about having kids and our sex worker experiences and paying for your porn. And then towards the end, we got to some cool stuff about being inclusive in stand-up comedy and how, the social justice terminology doesn't necessarily have to ruin an act, and how Will believes that a small gesture of using the right term can help an audience member not feel excluded, which I thought was really fun and interesting. It's not necessarily the take you hear from comedians on podcasts terribly often, right? So I hope you guys enjoy this week's show. So let's get to me with Will Miles.
It's crazy the difference between 28 and 21.
Yeah.
Or like even 24.
My girlfriend's 24 and I am 28.
Yeah.
And just again, age-wise, it doesn't seem huge.
4 years. Yeah, that's it.
But it's massive in terms of life experience.
It's so much. Yeah, it's insane. I'm 34 and I just remember I feel way different than I did at 32 even. So I'm like, oh man, is this going to keep happening where I feel like, oh man, there's so many things I didn't know that I thought I knew at 32. Because you say that in your 20s all the time, and then you're like, yeah, all right, now that I'm 30, I got to figure it out. And then every year of the 30s has been like, oh, I learned something I didn't know last year.
What's the difference between like you in your mid to late 20s and you now in your mid 30s?
Oh, man.
In terms of, let's keep it to sex and dating.
Sex and dating. Mid 20s, yeah, I was theoretically an asshole.
Oh shit, me
in
too.
theory, yeah.
I'm glad to know that's a normal universal mid-20s thing.
Exactly.
Good.
Where it's like, all right, I might lead a few people on right now, knowing I'm just fucking them. But I'll never outright say we're not in a relationship. I'll never say we're in one. But I'm just being an asshole about it. I could be obviously more definitive about what we're doing. That's my mid-20s. And now it's like, look, I'm just with one person, and I'm so exhausted at the idea of even trying to fuck around on her. Where it's like, oh god, even talking to another woman emotionally probably would be like, oh god, just I'd rather like the times I'm not around my girlfriend, I would rather be alone. I think that's an age thing.
Yeah,
where it's like I used to want to be like, if it was a girl I was hooking up with and she was like went out of town or something, I'd be like, all right, who can I fuck now? Like, who's out there who I've been seeing where I'm like, yeah, I could fuck them. But now it's like, oh, maybe I can get some of this writing done I've had backed up for.
For me, it's food. Me, it's like sometimes it's like I could go to this Craigslist gangbang, or I could get like a whole bunch of pizza and some fried chicken because I haven't had it in a few days. Like,
Yep, yeah.
And now I'm starting to choose. Like, I got to catch up on The Wire. Like,
yeah. There's so much other good stuff out there. I had no idea about it in my mid-20s. Pasta, yeah.
So many great carbs.
Oh, such good carbs. Yeah. Sandwiches, yeah, I've never tried before.
Yeah. Well, this is a good time to say I'm here with stand-up comedian Will Miles,
hey.
Also a co-host of the Hopefully We Don't Break Up podcast,
yeah.
which is a hilarious name, which you host with your girlfriend.
Yeah, Julia Rossi. Yep.
Yeah, another comedian. Wow. That's a great title.
Right?
That's a risky title.
Super risky.
Especially if you break up like week 2. Podcast done.
That's it, everybody.
2 episodes is all you get.
Oh, man. We that show title came up because we were in LA at a show talking about like, oh, yeah, we're about to do a podcast. And then this dude was like, well, hopefully you don't break up. And we were like, that's it. That's the title right there. Yeah. There you go. And we had only been dating for like a year maybe at that point.
So you've been doing the podcast for like 2 years now?
I think 2 years now. We've got I think we were hitting 70, whatever that is. Yeah, a year and a half maybe.
Okay.
Like yeah. About like last December, I think. So that's like a year and a half. Yeah.
Did I tell you what the premise of my show is typically?
You talk to exes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I can imagine doing that because it's like, well, if it's not good, that's one and you're gone. I don't have to have you back.
Yeah.
But what's it like podcasting with your current girlfriend?
I know, right?
Every week.
It's fun because sometimes there are people that are exes on there. Like, ex in New York just means you might have had sex once.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes. But so we've had some of them on there, but in their new relationships, it's kind of a fun thing to talk to them about what makes it work and why we obviously didn't work while my girlfriend's there also asking questions.
Right.
It's kind of cool. And while their new boyfriend is there, or sometimes girlfriend, in which case it's like, has
that happened to you a lot?
I've had a lot of women leave me for women. I've had 3, which seems like a lot to me.
Does that take a toll on you, or are you like very cool and accepting of it?
I mean, it's cool. Yeah. There's even one of my best friends now has a girlfriend and nobody's surprised. It's like, oh yeah, cool. It's like, I'm not gonna, she doesn't want to be labeled. We're like, yeah, no, this just makes sense in the flow of your life. Where
because some people like take an ego thing to be like, oh my gosh, like there's that whole trope of like, oh my God, she left him for a chick.
Yeah, oh yeah. His dick must have been horrible.
Shit like that.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't care. It's like everybody's different. It's all about connections.
And the premise of your podcast is like, so you and your girlfriend Julia, you guys talk to another couple every episode, right?
Another couple, see what makes it work for them. Because our thing is like, oh yeah, there's really no good relationship advice. There's just what works for individuals. And so
right.
That's why we just talk to other individuals.
There's there's little universal shit.
Yeah.
There's very few. Every question I get, like if somebody emails me for advice, I feel like the answer is always one of the same, like 3 things.
Yeah.
Like communication's probably the answer to most of the
I think
questions
that's probably number one. If there's anything I learned from interviewing all these people, it's like, oh yeah, talk to each other is the main thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems so scary to people, apparently.
Yeah.
I'll be like, did you ask your like husband? And she'd be like, no, why would I do that? I was like, I don't know. Because you're asking me why he hasn't fucked you in 6 months. Yeah. Maybe you should ask him. I don't know.
Yeah. Everybody would rather speculate. Like, do you know why he's not fucked me in 6 months? It's like, yeah, he's fucking somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah. But have you seen any other, like consistent trends or?
Communication is definitely the most consistent. Also, talking about the things you want for the future, I'd say, is a lot of things, because a lot of people don't know, even if their partner wants kids, and it's like that's something that's important. You at least want to be on the same page about it.
Yeah.
Of you're like, because me and my girl right now are very unsure about it, but we're on the same page of being unsure about it. Where it's like we like our lives right now, the kids we see are cool, but it's like maybe, but right now we're having fun and we get to leave town whenever.
Yeah. Is that your stance for you two together, or both like individually you're both unsure about kids?
Individually, and then together it just works that it's like we both think that same thing.
Yeah. You can both be unsure together.
Yeah, right?
So
Yeah.
that when the mistake happens, like, oh, this is both of our mistakes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We both didn't plan this. All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird because like my girlfriend, she's like 24, but she already knows she wants to be a mom.
Oh, really?
She
Yeah.
doesn't want to be a mom now.
Yeah,
Which I had to like
yeah.
make sure, like, first 6 months of dating when I learned that, I'm like, this isn't anytime soon, right?
Yeah.
I have 5 roommates, 17 depending on the weekend. Like I cannot afford my own life, let alone another.
Right. Comedy is very difficult.
But she's like very far in the future. She wants to be a mom, and that's like a weird thing because I'm like I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, it's good to even be unsure.
But it's good.
I feel like.
Yeah. But it's good to know that it's like far away.
Yeah.
I can just jump out of the car and do a barrel roll into the bushes.
Yeah.
If it comes up at the wrong time.
And there's also those moments where you get like a nice check and you're like, well, I could have kids. And then you spend that check and you're like, well, back to that thought of not having them.
Yeah. What about marriage? You guys into the idea of marriage, or is that something that comes up? Because not only we've been dating 3 years, you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
It's relevant.
It's very relevant. I mean, I would like to. It's just that's another money thing, which my mom always tells me it's not about money. But I'm like, yeah, but I got like certain plans and ideas that I think I need money for to make this a reality. And she's already been married before, so there's really not a lot of pressure coming from her.
Has her ex-husband been on the podcast?
The 100th episode he's supposed to be on.
Oh, that's going to be great. That's enough of a reason to keep going. If you're ever just like, I don't know if we want to keep doing this show, but no, we got to get to that one.
Got to get to 100, interview your ex-husband. Yeah. We had dinner with him a couple months ago, and it was great.
So they're tight?
They're tight still. Yeah, they're like, they were college sweethearts. And so then they started dating in their 20s, got married in their 20s, and got divorced in their 20s.
Are you friendly with them? Or?
Yeah, we were real cool.
Okay.
And he has kids now. He's got a son and a daughter. And I was hanging out with him and his new wife and everything. I was like, oh, I feel like this is a very modern.
It's very modern.
Yeah, right. Like look at relationships.
Like a new ABC sitcom. It's like a very. That's a weird one, but I don't know. Like, how are you with your exes?
I don't really have too many, I would say, exes, because I mean, there's a lot of women that I've hooked up with regularly for a couple years, but like one in particular, she moved to San Francisco and then got married. So we're still cool. We both knew it was just fun. So that was 2 years of us just like hooking up regularly.
Yeah.
But we both were pretty cool about it. There's one where I still sort of feel bad about it because we were in Chicago for 3 years, maybe 4, of hooking up regularly, and I could tell she wanted to take it to the next step, but part of it was like, I know I'm moving to New York. There's no doubt about it. So there's no point in me settling down in Chicago. and that was a big part of it. But she's cool, and I mean, I hope she has a new boyfriend. We follow each other on Instagram, but
That's a thing. That's a way.
I assume we're cool, right?
I just got on Instagram. I don't know what the rules are of Instagram. I don't know if that's a cool thing, or I don't know if that. I still don't understand this sliding into DMs nonsense.
Yeah, me either. Really,
Trying to figure it out, but
I checked one day and I had messages from people. I was like, I didn't even know Instagram had messages. I
I
was
don't
like,
know.
what?
I've handed Instagram off to the intern, be like, you do it. I don't fucking want to.
That is a young people's game. All this shit is a young people's game, except Facebook.
What? How'd you and Julia meet?
We met at a show at doing comedy together. I got booked last minute, and then my friend Maria Heinig was like, "Oh, I'm gonna come with you to the show that you just got booked on right now," because my friend Julia is there. And I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting." And then we hung out that night. I was like, "Damn, I like this girl a lot." She apparently didn't feel anything, but
Right.
but she booked me for her show the next day, which she said was out of character. She was like, "Oh, I've never done that before. I don't know what that was." I'm like, "Yeah, because you wanted me. That's what it was." Yeah.
It's a weird thing with comedians because a lot of comics either have these like rules where they're like, I do not sleep with or date comics, and then some are like, I'll only date comics because they get it, and then the people who won't bang comics is like, because I get it, and they're
absolutely.
a mess.
Yeah, I think both sides are crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you don't, it's so hard to not date a comic if you're a comic, just because it's so much of the same hours. You only have a few options of people you can date as a comic. I feel like bartenders, musicians, other comics,
And all of them can get great cocaine.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like
People have to be able to get great cocaine.
But this all happened to be, it's just the one thing that tied them all together in my mind. It's like, oh, all those three groups of people, they all get good coke.
Exactly. I mean, they all work at night. It's hard. I can't even imagine somebody, I want to say real, being like my schedule. It's a horrifying thing. That's why none of those past ones worked out, because I would always be like, oh, let's have dinner tonight or tomorrow or Thursday, and then it'll be like, I got a good show, I'm going to do that one.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, this is terrible. And it's
Yeah.
like, I know.
What's helpful for me is just that my current girlfriend is still unemployed.
Nice. Yeah, that's
but
perfect.
once she gets a job, we're going to have to figure that out. But yeah, it's weird to have like these overarching rules. A lot of people, whether it's like comedians like I do or don't date comics, or it's like age or like race or type of employment.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, I have to date like a professional. I'm like, why?
Yeah, any type
I know
of
a lot of
rule.
assholes who are finance bros.
Me too, yeah.
Most assholes I know are finance bros.
Yes, absolutely.
I just never thought that was healthy, like checking all those boxes.
Me either. And the whole idea of a rule at all is like, rules are meant to be broken. So you're just gonna set that rule of no comics, and then all of a sudden you're gonna fuck a comic and then like that person.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have made a blanket statement about you're never gonna do this when literally anything is an option in the world.
Do you have any like rules though? Anything or that maybe you used to have?
No, not really.
Anyone you've like hooked up with that like really surprised you? You're like, I never thought I would be into this type of person, and yet there we are.
Sometimes, well, in my 20s, there was a lot of plus size women that I didn't know. I kind of had an inkling I was into plus size women, but it's still a shock when you're like, there's a streak, and you're like, I hope I'm not fetishizing this. It just happens that I met a few in a row
That were all real
that
good.
were all very cool and like really nice and attractive, and so I ended up hooking up with them. But that was a surprise a little bit.
Do you think that's a thing in your 20s? I feel like I feel like when I was younger, like in my earlier 20s, I was definitely more aware of like who I was hooking up with based on how other people would react.
Yes.
To that. It's like I might have actually wanted to bang this person, but I was like worried what other people would think about me doing
man.
that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, she's a fat chick, and she's a hot fat chick. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that is most of early 20s, I feel like, is being worried about your boys. And that's so stupid. But it's sadly a part of life, I think, where you're like, oh, yeah. And then you go talk to a girl and they all see, and you're like, well, now I gotta close. I gotta spit some hot game. And then you just end up looking desperate, and she leaves, and they all make fun of you. And you're like, well, that was bad. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a weird culture for men.
I used to have guys get weirded out by me sleeping with older women when I was in college.
Yeah.
But like in college, you know, if you hook up with a 27-year-old, that's old.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
They're like, oh man, she can rent a car legally. That's crazy. Like one time I brought back like a 27-year-old. I'm 19. She walks out and all three roommates pop out of the other bedroom of the suite and like almost comical, just like 1, 2, and 3 vertical lined up. She'd be like, Billy, what was that? She's so old. What give a fuck?
Yeah, age is weird too. Everybody's
What's
got
the
an age
oldest
thing.
you've ever gone?
What
Or was the biggest gap? I should
biggest
say.
gap? I think it was probably 10 years when I was in my 20s. Yeah. That's the thing about the road and waitresses at comedy clubs. They're you don't realize age until you I don't know, wake up the next day and you're like, oh yeah, what are you going to do? Well, I got to take care of my 15-year-old. Whoa. All right. How old are you? I should have asked that before. And do I have to meet this 15-year-old? I will never be in this town again.
I'm terrified to ever hit on like a comedy club waitress. Not that like I'm at clubs all the time or anything, but gee, every time I've been or if I'm like traveling for whatever reason.
Yeah.
That because for every podcast I've listened to about comedy was like, don't ping the waitress. It's a bad move.
That is a rule.
So many times I've been like way attracted or wanted it, and I'm just like, I should stay away. I don't want to get into. I'm like, I want this stage time more than I want that pussy.
Absolutely.
And
there's the thing where if they make an outright statement, then if they say do not have sex with any of our staff, if they have to tell you that,
do they tell you that?
some clubs do tell you
They
that,
have said?
and then you're like, all right, well, I won't. If
That's
you
phenomenal.
Yeah, you need it because otherwise, why would I not hit on them if they're mostly attractive?
I want to know the comedian who won't play certain clubs because it's like, oh, you know, they don't let me fuck the waitress. Hey, I love an improv bar. Have you been to the Funny Liquors? They don't let you fuck waitresses. This is bullshit.
Never work this town again.
It's so strange. Do you find yourself like on better behavior with Julia when you're on the podcast versus off?
No. What I would love about her, among a lot of things, is that she likes it. She likes to hear about my past, and I'm like, cool, because it would be very hard for me not to want to talk about it because some of it's so fun. Where I'm like, oh, this is a good story. We had one podcast episode with Pete Holmes, and he was talking about that. He had a good line where
you had Pete and Sweet Lady
Pete
V?
and Valerie, yeah,
Sweet Lady V.
Yeah. They were on, and he was like, you have all your friends your whole life, and you tell them all your fuck stories, and then you get in a relationship, and you're supposed to just stop telling those stories. He's like, that's crazy. So
I'd have nothing to talk about.
Right, exactly. I'm like, I have so many good fuck stories. What am I just going to not share them with the person I'm with all the time? It's like, yeah, so I enjoy being able to share them with her, and she's so cool about it, and she'll share hers with me. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. She's got like some tales where you're like, oh yeah, I love that you like looked out over the lake after a hookup, and you were like, boy, I got it. I'm killing it right now. Because it was like 2 in a week or something. I was like, that's the coolest story I've ever heard.
She ever share something with you where you're like, that's too much, or I can't hear that? Or that maybe even just in your head was difficult to hear?
Not really. Because for me, I like it.
Truly modern man.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I was such a whore that it would be weird if I had an issue with it.
Well, I mean, see, we think that would be weird to have an issue with it, but there's so many people who still are like, yeah, I was a whore, but she banged 2 guys, so what a slut.
I know, right? I know, yeah. I see that via Twitter a lot. It's like they had a thing about vagina shapes where they used avocados. I saw that was going around the other day, and I'm like, man, they really got to teach sex ed. That is not how it goes.
Yeah, still do not. I mean, it's good to show and see like all the different types of labia and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's just the lack of comprehension. Did you know it's legal you could legally teach the stork in most states in this country?
Are you serious?
It's legal. You can just do that. I think it's only 17 states in the union as of the last Guttmacher Institute research I looked up a few months ago. I think it's 17 states in the union where you have the sex ed has to be, quote, medically accurate.
That is insane.
Insane.
And they wonder, like, I mean, there's a clear correlation between sex crimes, I think, and poor sex education. A lot of like STD rises, condom use. There's a
Every
clear
time.
if you just teach them. Same way with weed right now. Weed is legal, and apparently the numbers of kids under 18 who smoke weed has gone down by like 20%. Because they're
Well,
like,
they're all on Adderall.
Yeah,
They're all
right, that's true.
They're all trying to get into college. All trying to get into a college they can't afford. They're working really hard. But it's nuts. And that happens all the time. Like Texas, big gonorrhea outbreak in the district. Just stopped teaching about condoms that year, right? Or
what was the Indiana thing? Pence's old district where he was like
HIV. There was a small HIV epidemic. I mean, epidemic
where they
of
cut
HIV.
the funding for sex ed. It's like a direct correlation right there, and it's clear and visible.
Are you tired of trying to meet people online and it just stays online? Then you need to check out my sponsor, the Pure app. Pure takes you from in-app to in real life in a matter of hours, literally. You make a request to meet someone that only lasts for 1 hour at a time, and if there's mutual interest, you have just 1 hour to make plans in a chat window before it disappears. And everyone on Pure is there for the same reason. For some fun, safe, awesome, casual sex. I want to hear all of you start chanting right now. Out of the app, bend into the streets. Out of the app, bend into the streets. Download Pure from the App Store or Google Play. Pure, getting you from online to offline to getting off. Now back to the show. Have you ever seen sex workers? You ever paid for anything?
I've never paid for anything.
Man, I just had a fantastic happy ending massage in Mentor, Ohio last week. And it was phenomenal.
I just saw Mentor, Ohio on something. That's funny. Oh, I think it was in the show called something about style on Vice. They went to Mentor, Ohio. There's like a gun fashion show there. For women. There's like a women's fashion show, and it's all about where you put your holster because it's concealed carry out there. And there's like, put it in your bra, and there's a whole fashion show about it. They followed it. It's crazy.
What an industry.
Fashion industry.
I meant what an industry.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
I didn't throw the proper intonation. Remember, fucked up voice. But so would you ever pay for sex, or is there like a reason why you're like against it?
I'm not against it
For yourself, I mean.
I mean, so I guess on my 21st birthday, a buddy of mine paid for a stripper, and we were at a legit strip club, and I remember her pulling out my dick. And then
Wait, what?
Yeah.
On the floor or champagne room?
No, champagne room.
Nice.
He was like, go back to the champagne room, and he gave her the money, and then she pulled out my dick and started just rubbing it over and over again. And I remember her attempting to put it inside of her, which I thought was like, this has got to be highly illegal. But
I'd be like, I didn't realize my friend was this rich.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like what's going on? But I didn't get it in. I was like, this is not a
What's going through
a normal day for me.
Your mind?
Yeah, I mean,
what's
high.
going through your mind when the dick comes out and you're like, huh?
That part was shocking. You get the shock boner, but then when she was trying to put it in, I think my dick was like, "Come on, man, I don't think you want to do this. Like,
so
you haven't prepared for this."
You got soft before
I got soft before I got in.
So you were gonna let her put it in, but your body kind of
my body.
Let's think twice.
Yep. My body was like, just don't do this. Like you need. I feel like any sort of situation like that, you should have a mindset of going in where it's like, all right, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do. But when it's just shoved upon you or whatever, it's like, well, I don't know about this. Like I didn't sign up for this. And I smoked a bunch of weed tonight and I'm on whiskey. So it's like, no. This is my 21st birthday. What an intro.
That could have been a turning point in your life.
I know. I think about that all the time.
Because you get that and you realize, oh my God, fuck, hookers are great. And sex is awesome. And if you pay enough, you get the bareback, I guess. And and then maybe you start on a fucking string of using sex workers.
I know, right?
Everywhere you go on the road. Hey, comedy club waitress, get the fuck out of here. I got a sex worker to pay.
Yeah. And it was the thing of my parents and my family reiterated to me a whole bunch about using condoms before my 21st birthday. That was a main thing of like, all right, make sure you wear your rubbers. Every phone call with my aunt, who's hilarious, she would be like, put on your Jimmy hats, bring your Jimmy hats wherever you go, all the time. And
family. That's
I know, right?
By the way, very intimate family. That's normally like a mom or dad. One of them will like throw that at you.
Yeah.
But to have
everybody's like
that, where you were like a really irresponsible kid, maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
that they're like, we need to remind this kid.
They kind of knew me. They were like,
he burnt his hand on the stove all the time.
I did. They're like, yeah, don't get a recipe for disaster with anybody. But yeah, so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna not gonna have a condomless sex with a person I don't know. Profession, whatever, any profession.
Okay.
Don't have condomless sex with anyone. So that was a big part of it. But yeah, I just never have. Never been in a situation where I knew where they were. Also, so it's one of those where it never. Certain things never happen. You're like, well, I'll probably never do it at this point.
Well, I know you have one of these phones. They have the internet on it. You can find all sorts of things.
They got good porn. I just started paying for porn. I'm proud of myself.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, right?
That's got to be a career accomplishment where you can afford porn.
Exactly.
I have porn budget. I feel like the government's like, I budgeted for porn, but the money's just never really made its way there. I'm always operating on a deficit.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
One day when I have a surplus, I can fund the arts and pornography
Exactly.
in my life. But
They deserve the money. I mean, yeah, they're putting
Oh.
in work. Pornhub's, if the Pornhub wants to sponsor me, of course I'll take it. But it seems like, yeah, man, they're really taking away from people earning a good living. So I'm paying for it. X Confessions is the first site I'm paying for.
how'd you come to choose that one?
I saw a thing on Vice, honestly, even though people should on Vice. It introduced me to Erica Lust.
That's Erica Lust's company.
yeah.
Okay, I didn't tie the two together. Okay, yeah.
Erica Lust is great.
I'm very. I'm aware.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
fantastic. She was in that first episode of Hot Girls Wanted.
Yes,
Turned On.
exactly.
Yeah, the one right before. Apparently, all the other ones were unethical.
Oh, really? I didn't see
there's
the
like all
other
this
ones.
controversy because allegedly Netflix like outed certain porn stars or like they misled certain people they were interviewing. Like,
Oh, shit.
or they were using Snapchats they didn't ask permission for, using fair use, which to be fair, there's a legal argument for fair use for what they did.
100%.
I watched it. I was like, they didn't like overuse anything, but apparently like, they didn't block out people's like usernames.
Yeah.
And, my thought was just like, well, then fucking your Snapchat's public. What are you
It's
talking-
just a
but
nice
there
thing
was
to
like
do.
the industry kind of went nuts.
Yeah,
apparently.
okay.
I follow a lot of porn stars on Twitter. who,
Nice.
like, they put, which is so fun. Following porn stars on Twitter is like a lot of porn gifs and then political articles.
Yeah, yeah.
Like to the industry and sex workers' rights, and then it's followed by like deep throating. It starts right, which could be strategical because you want to get him like hard and jerking off, and like right before he comes, he says like, "Oh my god, I gotta call my congressman. Vote no on Prop 60."
I've been on shows with a few porn stars, I think, recently.
Like stand-up comedy shows.
Yeah, there's
there's-
a lot of them.
That is a trend. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't like anyone doing stand-up comedy. But yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It's as long if they're making money, cool.
That's sort of a disadvantage because they don't have to be good; they can draw automatically.
Yeah, exactly. That's
You
the thing.
entered the game. You entered your open mic with 200,000 Twitter followers.
Yep. And
And you get the gig before you can really even do the time.
exactly. That's everybody. That's like reality stars too. But I like it because I like the ones who try. Because Steve-O works on being funnier. Mick Foley,
Yeah,
the wrestler, really works on being funny. Vinny Guardino from Jersey Shore, did a show with him. He's really dedicated to
was?
the craft. Yeah, I liked it. I was like, oh shit,
I like
did
how
not
you said
expect this.
really funny, works hard on being funny, and then the last one you're like, well, he works hard at the craft.
he had some joke. He was funny. I will say he was funny, but you can tell he's working on it, which I was like, okay, cool. You're not just like getting all these followers out here and then just shitting on the stage,
Right.
which you see a lot of with, I mean, I'm not going to shit on YouTube stars, but there's a lot of YouTube stars out there who can't do 10 minutes.
Oh man. Yeah, no, but the hot girls want Erica Lust.
Erica Lust, yeah.
So what do you like about her porn as opposed to all the other stuff you really had the option for?
For me, I think a lot of what turns me on is a woman orgasming, and she's really focused on. That's the main focus of her movies is like actual orgasms, and so it's cool to watch. You're like, all right, I know how this was made. It was made ethically, and like they all wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And it was this girl's coming for real, so it's nice porn. It's good threesomes. I'm like, okay, cool. I can watch these cool threesome shots. Yeah, I don't know. It feels right to pay too, so that helps too.
Right. Yeah, did a good deal. Threw down how much you paying for that?
I think it's $10 a month.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if like that's gonna be like your that's your porn site.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you think about
No, but
Spotify's $10 a month, it's like, yeah, this is the same
Be
thing.
real with me though. How often do you still kind of use like Pornhub, X Hamster, and shit?
It's the balance of the two now.
balance of
You're
the-
like, Yeah. You're like, all right, I'm paying for this, so
Yeah, I'm not gonna go cold turkey
Right,
on the
yeah.
free stuff. But I'm
it's
gonna
like
go
quitting
down on
smoking.
it.
I need a patch still.
Because like I paid for like I think it's called the AEBN, the Adult Entertainment Broadcast Network, AEBN.com. It's like you buy minutes, and this is a
nice.
system I like. It's you buy minutes, and then those are the amount of minutes you have to watch any of the videos on the site. And it's a whole all this
that's
stuff.
cool.
And it's like all the stuff you'll see on X Hamster and all the fully produced like Playboy and Vivid, all these like high quality porns. And it just did what you basically are, it takes out from the bank how long you actually spent on the video.
Oh, that's
so if you
cool.
only spend 2 minutes of the video and you don't make the credits of a 60-minute porn, they don't charge you 60 minutes. You just I only need to pay for 2 minutes of this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's me watching porn 2 minutes at a
Yeah.
time. So I like that system, but I buy my minutes every once in a while, but like I still totally use the free stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make myself like watch on that site more often.
It's the thing about social media where you're like, for me at least, I want to leave, but the fact that it's there, it's like, well, I got to check it out.
I want to read the New York Times.
Yeah.
I know it's there, but Twitter is so much more convenient.
Exactly. It's right here. I could just click this article and it agrees with everything I believe.
Yeah, I don't need the whole thing. I just need a nice headline.
Yep.
Just something I can regurgitate to my
exactly. Make me sound smarter. That's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. I hope it all implodes and I'm able to. Social media, and then we can really read and stuff and communicate. Yeah. Same with if Pornhub ever shuts down, there'll be a hike in purchases again.
Yeah.
Or Next Hamster, all that stuff, RedTube.
Everyone's worried like, we'd go out of business. So like, you'll see a dip, but people will pay for it if they have to.
Yep, exactly.
There once was a time where they had to pay for it.
And when I was in high school, there was only World Sex when I was in high school, and it would take hours to download pictures. No movies.
I remember those days where just the picture.
Just pictures. Still VHS tapes.
You're getting the whole thing of vertical at the time.
Yep.
And depending on like how quickly you came, you sometimes never made it to the vagina.
Yep.
You just like, you got the tits and I was like, all right.
This'll do.
This'll do. If it's going to take 20 minutes just to have mid tummy.
Yep.
That's how long I got.
It was magazines and World Star, and all of it was pictures. And then occasionally one of my boys had he moved into an apartment where the last tenant had a bunch of tapes. And so occasionally he would be like, I've got tapes. Who wants tapes? And you take those. But those VHS tapes. So a lot of pressure back in the day about where you were going to jerk off.
I only remembered this, I think, like 2 days ago. I just like thought about it. I hadn't thought about it since I had done it.
Yeah.
But when I was like in 6th, 7th, maybe 8th grade, there was like a quick store type, like convenience store down the block from me. And in the back corner behind it was like a little nook that was their like porn section, but it was like a separate little room with no door. And it had like the racks inside of it. And I could never go in because there's always a camera pointing at it. So I would kind of stand in the back. It was next to the sodas.
Yeah.
So I would look at him at the counter to see if he was like either watching in the back, because the screens, the camera screens were like also facing that. So if he's facing the corner, the screens are up here. So it's all the same direction. So I would just see which way he's turning. And as soon as he turned away, I just reach in and whatever magazine I could grab and stuff in my pants. That's the porn I had.
Exactly.
Like I just have to hope I don't accidentally grab like a gay porn mag. Because if I did, I still got to use it. That's all I got. That's I worked hard to get it.
You take what you can get at that age back in the day.
But if he would never turn around, I'm staring at the soda section for just an uncomfortable amount of time. Like I really can't decide.
So sorry,
Sprite
sir.
or Pepsi. I don't. No, I'd be taking bottles out and putting them back in just to make it look like I'm actually trying to shop.
And the fact that we have porn on our phones now is outlandish. I'm like, it's too close. It's too easy.
But I don't like porn on the phone.
I don't either.
Like I
can't
don't
watch it. Yeah.
I don't do it. It's
Me
too
either.
small a screen. I got to multitask. I have to hold the phone.
Yeah, I hate that
or
idea.
Like, God forbid I had to change anything. Which I got to be careful which hand's the wet hand.
Yep. Oh, and then
Get
it's
outta
like answer a phone call, read a text. It's like, no, this is all terrible.
Yeah, I have been watching less porn on my laptop just because I just bought a brand new laptop.
Nice.
And so I just don't want to even dirty up this keyboard
yeah.
with my lotioned hand. Like,
Don't sully it.
yeah, it's a nice clean laptop. I want to keep it that way. I had a porn laptop, my old one, and I spilled water all over it. So now I just haven't been watching porn.
Was it
much.
water? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, now I've just been reading like text posts on Reddit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
certain subreddits because like
Sometimes the reading it is very good.
well, that's how I started with porn.
Me
Before
too.
then, yeah, I was like Literotica.
Yeah,
or
Literotica was one of my favorite places.
a nice niche site I liked.
Yeah,
It's called MC Stories.
I don't know.
Never heard of it? Okay.
Masturbation Confessions?
No. There was another. There's one other comic, John Fields. He knew of it. And I was like,
Okay.
oh my god, my brother. You get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But it's all mind control stories.
Shit.
So it was mind control stories, and there were little subsections of like the different categories within mind control.
Okay.
Like everything from like teachers to they've contaminated the town water, and everyone's fucking
Yeah.
all sort of like consensual, non-consent, BDSM,
Yeah.
family stuff, like all the subsections.
Family stuff has gotten so popular right now, right?
Right, but then they throw step into it. Like,
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on, it's go be like. Remember the '70s? They just let moms and sons fuck each other just fine as characters, and now they try to make us say, "Oh, stepmom," and
Yeah.
like that's better.
Everybody wants to fuck their stepmom. It's like, I don't know. Never seen a stepmom.
Yeah, because now what? Now you're gonna break up your dad's second
Yeah,
marriage.
right.
Like that's fucked up.
That's probably
He's
the
already
worst
gone
thing you
through
could do.
pain of one divorce, and now he thinks he's found the new love of his life, and now his son's gonna break up the second one.
They should do the backstory between all those. Like, what happened? His mom died, and then he fucked her replacement.
Oh yeah, no man, it's wild stuff. So you do the show with Julia. Do you and Julia watch porn?
We have before, yeah. And it was Erica Lust that we watched, so that was a part of why we have a family plan.
Well, before, we pay for the 2+ screens.
Yeah, we got it just like our Spotify. We got
You don't
the family
want to be
plan.
like gigging in different places and call and be like, "Hey, are you logged on to the thing? Can you get off? Because I'm trying to." Time for the fan whore appreciation moment. Hey, everyone. This is the part of the podcast where I like to thank members of our fan whore community on Patreon. What is Patreon? It's kind of like a monthly fan club subscription meets Kickstarter. You pick how much money you want to pledge each month, and depending on how much money you pledge determines, which rewards you get, which includes a shout out on the show. So hey, shout out to Alfredo A, longtime fan whore. I always love saying your name because it's kind of like a pasta sauce that gives me money. Catherine, hey girl, hey. I remember when she first signed up for Patreon, she first wanted to be called Fuckleberry Sin. And I was kind of like, look, I'm not going to write that on an envelope when I send you your thank you letter in the mail. And shout out to Anna Heed. You are such a sweetheart, darling. Thank you for your support. Brian F., you and your wife are totally adorbs. I may or may not have stalked you a little bit. I may have looked you up. You guys are so cute together. Thank you, buddy. And Justin S., who is a big fan of my past sponsor, the Motor Bunny. Thank you for supporting the podcast by buying a Motor Bunny with my promo code MANWHORE at checkout. And thank you for supporting me directly on Patreon. You too can gain access to our secret Facebook group, The Champagne Room, and bonus episodes and much more for as little as $1 at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. But now let's get back to Will Miles. But you also were saying that you guys go to just started going to sex parties because it's like live porn.
We've been, and it's because of the podcast, we get invited to certain things now. And so we've been to one together. She's been one without me, but we've been to one together. And before we were together, she went to one without me.
Okay.
And then, since we've been together.
Was it Hacienda?
No.
I didn't know if that's how she knew Andrew and them, but all right.
No. She knows them from a video shoot. And so we, we went to one before, and it was cool, but we didn't explore like we had previously thought we were, because we were like, this is like cool, but I don't know. It was better to watch the first time. We thought about like maybe inviting another girl into the mix or something, but it didn't.
Cue everyone
it's
rolling
gotta-
their eyes like, of course, another girl.
I know, yeah. Sorry, but it didn't. You know, it's got to feel right, especially when it's with a person you love. It's got to feel right, and so it didn't feel right. So it ended up just being like more like a live porn.
Did you guys fuck there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like you see it all happen, and then you're like, okay, cool, that turned me on.
Yeah.
That turned both of us on. Let's go in this private area and do it. Yeah. But it was. I mean, yeah, I'm very curious about the whole party experience because it seems it's a subculture, and I like all subcultures. I'm at least into exploring subcultures, so we're going to go to another one and then really try to figure it out.
Well, you guys
What
went to
we
chemistry.
like.
You're going to go to another chemistry, or what are you going to?
No, we haven't been to chemistry yet. We're
what was
we're
the one
members,
What was
but
the
we
one
haven't.
you went to before?
It was just one in New Orleans that we went to.
Oh, right, okay.
And but yeah, it was fun. But it was like a birthday present also for me. But it was
Now we've gone to the core of
Right,
of
exactly.
it. Okay, now I get it. Well, it's interesting because you guys are monogamous,
Right,
But
right.
you went to a sex party, and a lot of people that blows their mind. Like, what do you mean? 'Cause
I know, right?
I've met couples who do that, and that's fine and valid. But I think it confuses both sides of the aisle. I think the super mega poly slutty people are like, what do you mean? You know?
Yeah.
And then the people who are not in that world in the slightest are like, oh my God, that's no why even go. And
blaspheme. Yeah, right.
yeah,
I
it's
know.
like if you're gonna go, you might as well like taste the samples.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
I know, but it was cool. It was still fun.
Were you nervous?
Oh yeah. Well, because I had never been to one in general too. So then it's also the first girl I've actually openly loved, and so it's like, oh shit, all right, I'm here with this girl I love, and this is the first time I've been here. I'm just nervous about the whole experience in general, because then you're like, well, what if? I don't know. You gotta have all the thoughts of like, what if she likes this person more? What if I'll enjoy this person a lot more or something? I don't know, but
Did y'all?
in the end, like, okay, well, no. It felt nice leaving there being like, yeah, she's the one. Like, yeah, this is the woman that I'm with and I love and I'll always be with. But it's cool to know that through experiences, which I like being in this relationship.
That's beautiful.
Right?
Where did you? How'd you know she was the one, Papa?
Yeah, right?
Oh well, you know the way I felt fucking her in front of 100 other people in New Orleans really confirmed it. I mean,
I made it the right thing.
I met my girlfriend at a sex party.
Oh, really? Nice.
We met
Yeah,
at
yeah.
Hacienda.
Yeah.
and just is like you just fall in love. She still tells me. She told me yesterday. She's like, I knew.
That's it. Yeah.
I saw you. I walked up to you. I was like, I knew.
You just know. When you know, you know. Yeah, it's cool. Because, I mean, yeah, there's both sides of the coin, and we're like, yeah, we're not poly, but we're not we're not against poly.
Sure.
It's just, I don't know if it would work for us. And we do, on the same one with Pete, we're just talking about how, like, it's nice to be able to say open, but we just don't. But it's like, even if we were open, I feel like both of us would just be like, yeah, sure, but I'm not going to do anything with anyone else. But it's cool to have the option because that's kind of I don't know. It's just an interesting world we live in now. I like it.
Yeah.
Where everything is sort of there's as many labels as there are right now. It's kind of there's a movement to shun labels, which I enjoy.
I don't know, but I also like knowing what something is. I like to be
Yeah,
able to
I feel
call
that.
something a something.
Like poly or mono. Well, mono sounds weird.
Someone said monosexual. I had Dr. Timmery Leon, who's a sexologist. She said monosexual. I was like, oh God, is that a thing I'm supposed to identify as?
Yeah, right.
Or not? Or it was like,
What is that? Is that like?
it's when you're only into one gender.
Oh,
so
really?
like if you're heterosexual or homosexual, I guess.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Then you're a monosexual. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Whoa.
I stopped doing research on all the terms
Yeah,
a
me
while
too.
ago. It's too much.
As
As soon as I read zucchini, I was like, I'm out. I'm out. This is bullshit. I'm
mean,
not
yeah.
calling anyone a zucchini. A zucchini,
What's a zucchini?
is apparently a queer platonic friend. So I don't what. So like my transgender friend who I don't fuck that I love.
It's
I
a
guess
zucchini?
It's a zucchini. No.
What's
Nah.
a unicorn? I've been hearing that a lot too.
You don't know what a unicorn is?
Is that like a person who
That's like the woman who like gets
is the
recruited
third
for
in the threesome? Okay.
Yeah,
That is what I thought it was.
One for
Okay.
as old as time.
Yeah, is it
Unicorn
really?
because it's like hard to find. It's
Yeah.
sometimes hard to find that woman for that unless you live in Bushwick. Then they're
Right.
all over the place.
Literally every corner. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird thing of being older and not because the terms I feel like all originated on the internet, or if they didn't, they originated
all from
in like
Tumblr.
a class. Yeah, or
Yeah.
Tumblr. Yeah, because I feel bad that I didn't know what cisgender was until last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I grew up in Chicago. We've never had to use the term before, so I just didn't know it.
And I don't think it's bad to not know it because I think the way I learned cisgender when I was a senior in college, but again, I
Yeah.
thought it was just like a Tumblr term for kids who like, I want a label too.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
different. So, and then I realized like, oh, it had a usage when I started going to Hacienda, which is like, I don't know what the NOLA party was like, but like
Yeah.
the one here is like very queer friendly. Like,
Yeah. It seemed like it. Yeah.
like the night I met Paige, by the end of the night, like I was lying down, she was blowing me, and directly next to me on the same surface thing, same piece of furniture.
Yeah.
There was a guy lying down getting blown by another man. And it's
Okay,
just like,
yeah.
it's a very very queer party.
yeah.
And I realized that at that party where they have people of different genders and orientations, cisgender, for me, I feel like it's a proper term to use there because it's a shorthand. Everyone's on the same page. We all know what
Yes.
everyone who goes there knows what that term is.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like, hey, I'm a dude. I have a dick. I want my dick. I'm very happy with my dick.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas in like, I don't need to.
But there, it's a functional term.
yeah,
I
but
feel like
when you're in Chicago,
yeah.
I guess like wherever in Chicago, if you didn't need the term, then you don't need the term. Like,
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's where it comes into play. Where you're like, yeah, if I were at that party, the term is a functionality thing of like, if I'm walking around, this is what I'm in. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I am. Then it makes total sense. But yeah, just walking down the street, I'm like, I don't know that term. Never heard it.
I think, yeah, I think
I totally respect it. I
has
just never
this
heard it. Yeah.
There's like a context for certain labels, and you don't need to throw them around all the time. Unless
Right.
It's like really part of your identity, but I don't think there's any like cisgender pride parade, nor does there need to be.
Right. Agreed.
We
Yeah.
definitely don't need another flag. Although whoever comes up with flags has got to be making bank these days because it
Hell
seems like
yeah.
everyone's got a flag. The asexuals have a flag separate from
Are they
the
excited about it? No, I'm
demisexuals.
just kidding.
Bisexuals have a flag, which
What's
like
demisexual? I know. I'm so old.
no, like I just don't think they're a thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
I refuse to acknowledge them as a real sexual
Okay.
orientation. Their thing is that they are only sexually attracted to someone once they've established an emotional connection.
Isn't that just most people?
That's just being a person. Yeah, you're just a person. That's just how you operate.
It's so weird to be in a place where we are constantly trying to shun labels, and it seems like we're adding more. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is that doesn't need to be a thing. I agree.
Yeah.
Demisexual. I don't know. I never heard that before.
Yeah.
It just seems like, I don't know.
Well, I got this woman to agree.
I guess there's other ways to do it, but yeah, I'm like,
Well,
yeah,
it just means that like you're not slutty. Essentially,
Yeah,
is what
yeah,
it
yeah.
is. It just means like, hey, I don't like casual sex, which is like great.
yeah.
But you don't need like another term. You don't need a march for it.
No.
But yeah, it's whatever.
I mean, I guess I respect.
But it seems
that
like
one
you're.
too, but
it
I
seems like
don't.
you're like I do, but I don't.
I do, but in my heart, I really don't get that one.
You seem like you really want to just be like, look, I'm all accepting. I may not know the term.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You seem eager to know the thing. If I like.
I mean, yeah,
you're
working
very
in comedy, I
apologetic
really
about-
don't. I don't want to be an asshole, but there's a lot of. It's that thing of like. There's not a lot of understanding of age because when people got mad at Seinfeld for saying the PC stuff, they're forgetting he's 63.
Yeah.
And it's like, why he's literally never had to care about half these terms until the last 3 years. So he's gone 58 to 59 years, never hearing any terms, never concerning himself with them. So I'm like, it's the same as when you meet an older person in your real life and they might call you weird because of your hair. It's like, yeah, because you've spent 60 years not seeing hair like this.
Yeah, you 60
like-
years with only the bowl cut as an option.
right. I mean, not to say they're similar, but that whole sentiment is pretty similar. Of like, yeah, it's new. Let him learn it. His unwillingness to learn is something to criticize, perhaps. But I mean, let him live. He's Seinfeld.
Right.
Just don't watch him then. If you don't like him, that's my thing.
I've always been a big fan of like you can turn it off.
Yeah.
There's an off switch.
And he doesn't. It's not like he has a huge audience anymore. His old show, yeah, but I mean, yeah, people get mad at people for the wrong reasons.
Do you evolve your comedy to adjust to the growing terms, identities, things that are out there?
Identities, but not the terms. Just because I don't know all the terms, but yeah, I mean, you want to. My goal is if I have a comedy show, I'm not catering to anybody, but I don't want you to feel left out. So if you come into my show, it's my goal to make you not feel left out. Even I'm never going to pander to you, but it's my goal to make sure I at least have shown that I've tried to learn something.
How do you do that?
Internet.
No. I mean, like, so what in your act or in the show? I assume show you meant like stand-up act or show like
Stand-up
a TV
act,
show?
yeah.
Yeah. So like in your act, like what do you do to be more inclusive or like to not leave people out?
I talk to those people. Luckily, I work on the Chris Gethard show. I'm a writer on there, and a lot of his fans are they broad spectrum of fans. So I can learn just by talking to people in the crowd at that show. Like if there's because I mean, also growing up in Chicago, I did grow up in a neighborhood called Boys Town, which is mostly gay. And so but it was like seedy when I was growing up. So I had a different way of looking at things. So now as an adult, I've met transgender people. I know to call them transgender. I know some people prefer not to be called transgender. I know the term they, I know them. I know terms like that, but it's because I've talked to either people on the internet or people at the shows, usually in the crowd at Gethard show. And so it's just a matter of connecting with them and being like, okay, so cool. So I shouldn't say this, or I'll look like an asshole if I say this. Okay, cool. Well, then I just won't say it. That's fine. I just didn't know. So now I'm asking you, and I learned from that. And now I know how to move forward with it, which I feel like is something we could all strive to do. It's just like learn.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Like I said, I continue to see the modern man.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
Will Miles, the modern man. What do you think of the strategy of like the Lisa Lampanelli style of inclusion, where it's like, I am not going to leave you out by like, I'm going to shit on you too.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you like that one?
Yeah. But
not for your act, but just
not for my act, but in general, I like watching that because some of my favorite comics are sometimes considered assholes, and I'm like, I enjoy this.
Who are your faves?
I mean, who's Dave Chappelle says a lot of controversial shit, and I think it's hilarious, and I think I can see that it's him trying to understand it. I know he got a lot of flack for the transgender joke, but at the heart of it, he was just trying to understand a culture that was foreign to him. So I mean, I liked it. It was funny. Some of the stuff was funny. I could see how people would be offended. As I was watching, I was like, see, because I've talked to people, I know I wouldn't say it this way. But he's also the best stand-up comic around. So I'm not really watching him, giving him notes. I'm more like, he's hilarious. Yeah. Everything he said is funny. So
I think there's something admirable about people like him, or Bill Burr does this too.
Yeah.
Specifically, he did it in the black and white special, not the newest one, but in the exposing your ignorance, like saying like, look, my heart's in the right place. I might be wrong. Like he says, he said something, I think, it was about transgender athletes.
Okay.
He goes, he's like trying to understand, be accepting, but he's like, then there's that MMA shit. You can't have that. It's like, that's a dickless dude beating the shit out of a woman. And then immediately, as the crowd's obvious, he goes, I might be wrong. I don't know. I might just, he says, I might just be an old guy. I don't know.
That's great. Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think there's something way more courageous about doing that than like saying the right thing on fucking Facebook, to say like, I'm going to go in front of like millions of people on Netflix, and I'm going to say something wrong and say I might be wrong.
Yeah,
I think
that's
saying
great.
I might be wrong about something is terrifying. That's why I just maintain the fact that I am right almost all the time. I am so afraid of being wrong.
I think I'm so wrong usually about things, but I think there's a difference between pander. A lot of people will pander. I don't trust those people either, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's people who will get every word right and get everything they say is a clear belief of like a bunch of people on the internet whose opinions they read, where it's like, or you could just say what you really mean and then run it by someone and figure out how to say it without being so offensive, you know, like it's all a matter of just talking to people. That's kind of what my whole act is. Just who have I talked to? I talked to this person. Here's a joke about it. I talked to this type of person. Here's a joke about it. Where it's like, yeah, I've run into, we're all the same. at our core, but some of us have different ways of identifying ourselves. I've met drug dealers. I've been to a ton of
Look, but I don't self-identify as a drug
yeah,
dealer.
exactly. You know, just because they sold crack
I'm a
doesn't mean they
purveyor of
identify.
crack.
Exactly. They would identify as loyal NBA 2K players because they play that a lot. The ones I've met, but I mean, yeah, I've been to bar mitzvahs and I've been inside crack houses and I've been able to joke at both the same. So I feel like that has framed my mindset as an adult, where it's like, yeah, everybody, you might have some different shit going on, but I can get where you're coming from if we talk for like 10 minutes. Like even if it's completely foreign to me, I bet I can get along with you within 10 minutes. Like I just met a comedian who when did I meet her? I've met a few transgender comedians who I've become really cool with. And it's just a matter of I've never hung out with one before. So now I know a few of them and they're very cool. And I feel meeting people makes you feel good. That's why we all do comedy in the first place. You meet a bunch of people every night and you're like, oh, here's a bunch of perspectives. Sometimes a heckler is actually helping the show. I mean, I hate to say that, but sometimes if you're mad at me for this phrase and you're in the audience, I mean, nobody's ever really mad at me. But if you're yelling something out in the middle of my show, I'm going to take you at your word. I'm going to shut you down, but I'm going to take you at your word and be like, all right, maybe that's something to think about. Cool. Now I have something to think about. It's fun to learn. But I mean, just that alone, doing shows with more people of different types, different backgrounds is fun. Because then you see how your jokes work after somebody else goes on stage, no matter where they come from in life, and that's kind of a fun thing. It helps your act grow for sure. So I enjoy it. Meeting new people is fun.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, people, you've been fantastic. People should check out your show. Hopefully, we don't break up.
Yeah.
That's on iTunes and all the places.
All
I'm
that
assuming.
stuff. Yeah.
What happens if you guys have y'all two made a contingency plan? If
Not really.
y'all were to break up, what do you think? Because some people ask me, Billy, what happens if you like get? So the premise of my show was that like I can't get a girlfriend. People sleep with me, but they don't date me.
Okay.
And they were like, well, what if you get a girlfriend? I'd be like, well, I don't know. Like the show still go. I still have plenty of past. Or like, what if you run out of women? I was like, I got a plan for that. But what happens with y'all if
I know, right? I don't know. I guess our
you break
show's
up?
fucked. No.
I don't know. Would if you two broke up, would you still do the show would you do the hopefully we don't break up show as a broken up couple?
I imagine there would be a small break in time between that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't really planned for that. I guess the most we've planned is we're trying to get it into a TV show format or something. Because then that's
Like
more
a double date, like where
yeah, like a double day TV show thing, or in some way to get it out of the podcast form and into like the television form, and then that's I don't know. Then you have more of a connection to it because you're like, all right, we've made this from podcast to this now. Really, hopefully we don't break up. But yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Every Sunday night at Comedy at the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn.
Do you host that now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me and Clark Jones and Kenny DeForest.
Did you three take over for Hannibal?
Yeah.
Or was there something in between that? Okay.
No. Yeah, he passed it down to us, and it's still running strong. That's every Sunday night, 9 p.m. at Mr. Will Miles on Twitter and Instagram. And then all around willmilescomedy.com. I've writing for the next few months, but then I'm going on a tour.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, people, go check him out. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, man. This was really fun.
appreciated.
Yeah, hell
Let's
yeah.
say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
That was a fun episode, right? What a guy. Funny dude. Nice guy, willing to use your silly Tumblr words. Am I right? Go support this dude. Check out his comedy album, Good Year, on iTunes or wherever you like to get your comedy albums at. We always enjoy shout-outs. Say hello on the socials. Let us know what you thought about this week's show. He is at Will Miles on the places. I am at the Billy Procida. There's, of course, the Facebook fan page for the Man Whore Podcast. Please go click like, tag the show if you're doing a post to your friends and family to let them know that you listen to such an amazingly slutty show. I love getting your emails. If you enjoyed the podcast and you have more than 140 characters to say about it, send me your comments, your questions, your booby pictures to manwhorepod@gmail.com. You may even hear your email on the show. Join the conversation with your fellow fan whores on the Man Whore Podcast subreddit. We're treating the subreddit kind of like a forum/bulletin board where you can see links to various articles that I'm quoted in, as well as read the latest Man Whore Podcast news. For all you Redditors, that's r/Man Whore Podcast. And last but certainly not least, Man Whore Con people, go get your tickets today. Prices are going to go up on August 1st, so you want to get that now. manwhorepod.com/tickets. Tickets are refundable up until September 1st. So I would suggest getting your ticket now. Worry about your travel plans later. And God forbid it doesn't work out. You can still get your money back. Why am I telling you how to get your money back? I'm such a bad business person. Okay, everyone. I love you all so much. I'm looking forward to next week's episode where we're talking a lot about porn and shame with Dr. David Ley, author of Ethical Porn for Dicks. But until next week, stay slutty.